Anthony Sequeira here, and it is time for our live chat regarding none other than the latest, greatest CCNA exam. It is version 1.1 of our beloved CCNA exam. It's exam number 200-301, in case you were wondering. And I am thrilled to be live here with you. Boy, I realize just how remiss I have been at attending to my YouTube. It's been literally years since I went live, so that is going to stop. That's one of the reasons I went live today, is I want to be bringing more live content to my YouTube channel and more content in general. So yeah, kicking it back up with YouTube. You might be wondering why I stopped YouTubing so frequently. I have been super busy in the book writing department. Had a lot of books of mine come up for revision, like the Network Plus Cert Guide that I have, the AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification Guide. So lots of different projects kind of came due all at once, kind of kept me away from YouTube, but I am back now. I see we've got live viewers for this live session. That is wonderful. Don't forget, chat with me, even if it's just to say hello. And let's not forget why we are here. I want your questions regarding this new version 1.1 CCNA exam. One of the questions that I received, not in this live chat, but I got this before I went live, was how hard was this new exam? I never really mentioned that in the video where I provided a detailed review. So let me just say that I did think this was the toughest overall CCNA exam that I have seen. Now, with that said, that always comes with caveats, because this exam, as you heard me mention, is very heavy on configuration. That's configuration in these new emulations that we have inside the exam, where you are working on routers and switches. And it's heavy in configuration in your multiple choice questions as well. So while I'll say this is one of the toughest CCNAs I've ever seen, for some of you that have been really labbing and emphasizing hands-on practice, you're going to love this CCNA exam, because what you've been practicing for is what you are experiencing in the exam. Plenty of points at which to prove that you are worth your stuff when it comes to configuring these devices. So not a lot of super tricky multiple choice, not a lot of super tricky drag and drop, things of that nature, just a lot of can you configure these devices, and great news on that. So remember, one of the ways they're going to prove that you can configure these devices is with these what they still call simulations. I'm calling them emulations, because as you remember from my review, these are actual images that we are working on now. It's no longer just strictly a flash-based simulation. So every single command that I tried inside the emulator worked. Before, when we had flash-based sims, I would try a verification command, and sure enough, they hadn't programmed the sim to be able to respond to that. So that stunk, because you didn't have the full gamut of commands at your disposal. But the point I wanted to make about configuration and these simulations is that the partial credit is super obvious. Remember, we're going to have a tasks tab, and that's going to be filled with things that you need to configure. And that means that it's going to be super obvious to you that it's partial credit, because there's going to be a whole bunch of tasks in there for you to configure. So you can just really see it's obviously multiple, it's obviously partial credit type of a situation. So get in those simulations and definitely start configuring all that you can. Let me give you a more concrete example. Let's go to an area of configuration. Okay, so configure and verify inter-switch connectivity. This is where we are configuring our trunk links. And notice there's 802.1q listed, trunk ports, and the native VLAN. I would add to that list the allowed VLAN feature. So let's not forget that. When you build a trunk, an 802.1q trunk, you have the ability to go in and specify which VLANs are allowed on that trunk. So you'll go in to a simulation involving this task, let's say, and you're going to see there's a task where you need to build the trunk. And maybe you're building the trunk a certain way. In other words, maybe you're using the dynamic trunk protocol. Maybe you're not using the dynamic trunk protocol. But it'll be pretty obvious to you that, oh, okay, if I get the trunk up the way they said, I'm going to get some points for that. Then there'll be a task, let's say, that has you set the native VLAN. And you realize, oh, okay, great. If I know how to do that, I'm going to get the points for that task. Then let's say there's a task that has you only allow specific VLANs on that device, on that trunk. Well, then that's going to give you points. And then don't forget, you need to save your configuration. It's not clear if you get points for doing that, but it is clear that you would be penalized for not doing that. That's for sure. So it's great, right? If we are emphasizing configuration and we get into a simulation, maybe it's one of the areas we're not the best at. If we can just remember how to do some of that, we are going to get points for doing that. Another area where I can kind of elaborate on this point is configuring and verifying single area OSPF. Notice they're very specific about what they list. First of all, it's single area. So you don't need to know how to configure a stub area, a totally stubby area, a not so stubby area. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to know a lot about multi-area OSPF. That is not the emphasis in the CCNA exam. But they list what you are responsible for here, and that's going to be neighbor adjacencies, point-to-point, broadcast, router ID. So these are the kind of subpoints of OSPF that you are responsible for, and you can very much expect a whole bunch of tasks in your OSPF simulation if you get one, and they're going to be partial credit. So you can be going in there, getting those points. Now, one of the things I want you to be aware of is that much of our configuration exercises and challenges that we're going to face in the CCNA exam, they just say in the blueprint, that's what I'm referencing here, they just say configure, oh no, they do say verify, thank goodness, because verification is a key. Yeah, so they don't say troubleshoot. That's the word that's missing that I want to draw your attention to. So configure, verify, and troubleshoot is what we really need to be ready to do. It wouldn't surprise me if you saw a simulation where everything has been configured, but it has things that are broken inside it. So I was a little surprised to see emphasis on troubleshooting throughout the CCNA exam, but obviously not a big deal for us. if we know our stuff, if you can configure and verify well, then you're going to have no problem troubleshooting. So what I would do in the simulations is I would just configure, verify, configure, verify, configure, verify each of the tasks that they're needing me to do. When I got through all of the tasks that they needed me to do, I would then verify again one last time, and then I would do my copy run star to save. And remember, because this is an emulation now and it's acting like a real router or switch, you can do any of the fancy save variations. For example, I was in interface configuration at one point, and I backed out to global config and then did the command do WR, and that's going to work just fine. So when you're saving your configs, you don't have to be saving using the classic copy run star, but definitely save your configs. And remember, on some of these simulations, you're going to have multiple tabs for your multiple devices. So you're going to need to remember to visit each one of those tabs and make sure you do your save on that particular device. Well, I can see we've got lots of people in that are viewing the live stream, but I'm not seeing any questions yet from our audience. So could someone just actually do me a favor and just chat in so I can make sure the chat feature is working? That would be great. Not a big deal if you don't have a ton of questions for me in this Q&A. I've got plenty to talk about involving this exam, but I do want to make sure the chat is working. So if someone could just chat in. As I said, you'll have to forgive me. It's been years since I've done a live stream, so I'm just kind of getting familiar again with this YouTube live stream interface. So if someone could chat, that would be great. I've selected, to see all of the live chat. Hey, all right. Victor, thank you so much. Victor is in from Texas. Victor, it's great to see you here in the live stream. Thanks so much for doing that. So any questions that you have about this new CCNA exam, now's the time. And I did get a question over on my Facebook, and that question was, and I loved this question because it's probably on the minds of so many people. The person over on Facebook said, after watching my review of the exam, they said, "You really didn't get any AI questions?" And the answer is, I really didn't get any AI questions. I really didn't get any questions on Terraform. I really didn't get any questions on the spanning tree protocol enhancements like BPDU guard, BPDU filter, root guard, loop guard. Do I think these questions are coming to this test? Yes, I most definitely think these questions are coming to this test, but they're not there yet. I think Cisco will continue. I think they do this continuously now with the CCNA. This is a great way they can guard against brain dump sites. They're continuously entering into the database of questions, new questions. So I certainly think that these new topic areas that were introduced in 1.1 are going to start showing up. But like I said in my review, for those students that are interested in not facing any of that new material, they'll probably want to run out and take this exam really, really quickly because it's taking Cisco a while to get that new material into the exam. Now, remember, there are definitely areas of emphasis in this test. And one of the things that I told you that I would be and this has been the fact now for a while on the CCNA. So I'm not really saying this is a change. I just want you to be ready in the area of wireless LAN controllers. I think students are sometimes surprised that that is such a relatively large emphasis in this exam. So the more that you can know about wireless LAN controllers and their configurations that are possible, the better. That is a big emphasis. Another emphasis that we discussed in my review I want you to be aware of is the JSON. So when we get to that final section of automation and programmability, we need to know JSON. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. So, like I said in my review, fun to study, also not that like crazy deep of a topic. JSON is a data representation format, so you need to know the various data types that you can represent in JSON. You need to know the syntax of those data types. You need to know a little bit about JSON itself, like how is it encoded, what is it used for, but definitely know your JSON. And then, as I stated, another big one in that section is knowing controller-based networking compared to traditional networking. This is a big emphasis, as it should be, because, this is the way the world is going. This whole software-defined networking is not just a passing fad. This is something that is here to stay, and it is an emphasis on your CCNA exam. So cycling back to that, how hard is this CCNA question? Another reason that I give this a difficulty rating of difficult, if I were to be pinned down on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say this was about an 8 as a level of difficulty, this exam. And one of the reasons I give it that high of a level of difficulty is because it, at least my experience, was 89 questions total. That's a lot of questions, especially when you consider I had 3 of those be the simulations where I'm going in and configuring stuff. And that's also a lot of questions when you can consider that many of your multiple choice are going to be based on multiple exhibits. So these tend to take us a little bit more time as we are comparing the configuration of this device to that device in an exhibit, and then we're answering our multiple choice questions on that. So time is more of a pressure with this CCNA than I have ever seen in any previous CCNA. Like I said, when I got done, I only had about 20 minutes left, which was shocking because, as you might guess, normally when I take a CCNA exam, if they give me 2 hours, I'm done in 45 minutes. It's just, and you know why. Those earlier CCNA exams were much more multiple choice theory focused. So it was very easy for me to go, what's the difference between TCP and UDP? B. What is the correct way to set and enable password? C, option C. When you're getting just theory-based multiple choice and a lot of it, then you can really fly through the exam if you know your stuff. In this exam, I was, just like you're going to be, I was very busy examining the exhibits and, making the best choice based on what I was seeing in these configuration exhibits and things of that nature. Now, one other thing I wanted to make clear to you was that, of course, One of the reasons I only had 20 minutes left was I was messing around quite a bit in this exam. For example, when I first got the first simulation, I spent a good 5 minutes just, poking around so I could gather data for you. Is this an actual device image that we are on? And like I said, it is. It appears to be the old IOU on Linux product that Cisco has. They must be like containerizing this and shipping it down for you to take your test with. So much improved over the old flash-based simulations. Well, all right. Any questions from our viewers? Now is the time. I won't go long here on this live stream. Just wanted to talk about some of these questions that I had gotten. Now is your chance for my live viewers that are in the stream right now. Now's your chance to get your question asked. If we don't have any further questions, I'll go ahead and wrap up this live stream. Keep an eye on my YouTube channel because I will be doing much more content and I will be doing many more live streams in the future for you. So I'll wait another, 3 minutes or so, and then I will go ahead and shut this live stream down. Just want to wait that extra 3 minutes to make sure I get any questions that our audience might have. One question I always tend to get is, did I see anything flat out incorrect or wrong in this exam? And the answer is no. This exam seemed to be very sound technically. There was maybe once where I was like, wait a minute, Cisco, did you just mess up this question? And then I thought about it and was like, oh no, I see where they were going. There is a best answer here. And so there was only once in the entire 89 questions where I was like, oh, wait a minute, they may have botched this. Then I saw where they were going. We've got a question from Joe. Will you be doing any Q&A on the CCNP Encore? Joe, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. I have practice exams up at Udemy for Encore. I just took the Encore not too long ago. I retook it because I had to. I had to renew my CCIE. So I just took Encore not too long ago. It's a great idea for me to start doing some content on that. Encore had a level of difficulty of a 9. I thought, I could not believe how tricky the Encore test was. Couldn't believe it. So yeah, that is a great idea, Joe. Thank you for that. And Joe's in from the Emerald Coast. Wow, that's awesome. I am broadcasting today live here from beautiful and super warm Gainesville, Florida, home of the Florida Gators that are going to be having their first college football game here of the season in about 5 hours from now. So pretty exciting. Joe, thank you so much for joining me in this live stream and asking questions. Victor, thank you as well. We've got other lurkers out there. That's always great. Any more questions, please feel free to chat them in as we're wrapping up here. Joe indicates, it took me 2 attempts to pass the Encore, and it was 100 questions. That was brutal. Yeah, Encore was super tricky, I thought. Yep, I just couldn't believe some of the detail of those questions. So I bet you I can retake that now again. I should go look at that again, and I will do so before doing live streams and things of that nature on it. some compliments to my teaching in the queue. That is awesome. Thank you so much. That was from Yo. Yo, thank you so much. Glad that you find my teaching splendid. That's awesome. All right, well, I don't want to waste anyone's time. We got some questions answered here in this live stream. And I'm expecting YouTube session on OS. Let me see here. On Yo, could you repeat that question? I don't fully get it here. It's you're expecting YouTube sessions on something involving the CCNA. I just want to make sure I get it clear what in fact, this is a great question for all of you watching right now. Go ahead and chat in what videos regarding the CCNA you would like to see me create for YouTube. I will certainly do that. Here's a question. Would you recommend taking the Encore again to re-up the CCNP, or would you go with 2 specification exams? Joe, here's what I do. Anytime I need to recert, I go ahead and switch tracks. Yeah, so I took Encore, as I told you, when was that? It was about 1 year ago. So about 1 year ago, I took Encore to recertify my CCIE. Now, in 2 years from now, when it's time for me to recertify my CCIE again, what I do is I will take another TRACS core exam. So I was already talking to my boss, Ronnie Wong at ACI Learning, and I said, Ronnie, I'm going to take the SCORE exam again to recertify. And he was like, that's a great idea. So because I teach all this different Cisco stuff, I like to jump around and go to another track. Joe, I like your idea. If you're going to stick in the enterprise track and you don't have any desire to move to another Cisco track, then if I were you, I would definitely go after new specialization exams in your track. That's a really great idea if you don't want to jump tracks like I do. And Yo clarified for me, so videos on operating systems and videos on the CCNA. You got it, Yo. That'll be my pleasure to do that and keep that content coming on my channel. All right, folks. Well, we went about 30 minutes in my first live YouTube stream in a long, long time. That's great. Glad to know the software is working. And again, I promise much more content hitting my YouTube channel and plenty more live streams. Thank you so much, everyone, that took time out of their day today to join me in this live stream. Yo says, please do regular videos and open membership options in YouTube so we can enroll. You got it, Yo. I was just thinking about that. I know there's all new membership options that go with YouTube now. So yeah, great stuff. Stick around my YouTube. You'll see lots more coming. Thanks again, everyone, for attending this live stream, and I'll see you soon in another upcoming live stream.